everyone. I'm G-Man. That there is T-Money. Welcome to the Jan 11 Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. It's NFL playoff opening rounds this weekend. Let's get you ready. What's up, G?
What's going on, G-Man? Bengals hosting a playoff game this weekend.
Ooh.
Gonna be a fun time in Cincinnati, man. It's getting lively here, so really excited.
Yeah. And I will look back since the division races are all over. You and I made our division picks across the board. We picked the AFC and NFC division winners, and I analyzed that, and I'm proud to report to you today that we tied. T-Money picked 5 of the 8 division winners. T-Money missed on the Ravens. You thought the Ravens would win the North. I picked the Bengals correctly. So in the AFC, I got you beat because I got the Bengals. You had the Ravens coming out. We both missed the AFC South. I would have had you because I had the Titans, and the Jags get it. On the NFC, you beat me in the NFC. You got we both got 49ers and Bucks, but you had the Vikings, and I somehow had the Packers. So you won the NFC. I won the AFC. We both end up 5 out of 8.
All right. Good season, man. I guess it's going to come down to who predicts the Super Bowl champ, and we'll get to that later in the show.
Oh, good prep. I like that. Well, number 1 seeds in each conference this weekend, the Chiefs and the Eagles both get first-round byes. The remaining 12 teams play this weekend, 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then a game Monday night. That'll be nice to have a little Monday night finale. But keep this in mind, T-Money. Last season's top seeds were upset in the second round, and the number 4 seeds, the Rams and the Bengals, went to the Super Bowl.
All right. Very interesting. Going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Right. We'll see if the Chiefs can do it this year, man. They're the number 1 seed overall. Mahomes is favored in the MVP. Can they get it done this time? So we will see. Hey, y'all do us a favor. Press the like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. We're going on to the Ross Rundown. Let's kick off this NFL playoff weekend. Getting started. We're all excited about the playoffs here, but we're going to talk about some of the teams that didn't make it too. So just hang in there. We love all the cities, man. We're coming to you, and we're bringing it to you, the NFL, through Father Son Sports. Hey, T-Money, let's talk about the Cowboys. Everybody likes to talk about the Cowboys, and what do you think, man? Are you starting to panic? They played so terrible.
Yeah, I think it's time to panic a little bit. I am a little nervous. They just played their worst game of the season heading into the playoffs, something you don't want to do, right? And I know they didn't have a lot to play for because maybe they couldn't have gotten the 1 seed, but they didn't know that the Eagles game was close. That game was close. The Eagles could have lost that. The Niners could have lost that game.
That's right.
Gotten the 1 seed. So anyone that says they didn't have a lot to play for, I disagree with. Washington,
They didn't know that until the late in the third quarter. They didn't know that.
Washington is the team that had nothing to play for, and they were playing a rookie in Sam Howell. This team played horribly. This was Dak Prescott's worst game of his career. Every statistic, passer rating, his interception TD ratio, completion percentage, every statistic was bottom 3 in his lifetime of game statistics. And he has more picks in the NFL than anyone, and he only played 12 games. This is a big deal going into the playoffs. You have your worst game of the season. I'm concerned. Now they're on the road. They're playing a team that already beat them this year. I'm truly concerned. And Jerry Jones just keeps talking and hyping these guys up when they need to dial in and focus, which they clearly weren't this weekend.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Here's 2 teams. Both of these teams are in disarray. And you're right. It's not that this game they didn't have a lot to play for. That's not the right way to characterize this. They had a lot to play for, and they did not play well. And Tampa's not playing well. So this is a really tough game to pick because these guys both have been up and down. Both teams have been up and down, mostly down. And we don't know who's going to show up for either of these teams this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look at the Tampa Bay game a little differently. Yeah, Brady played but they were already locked into their seed. They weren't playing a lot of their guys.
I'm talking about the whole season. They've been up and down.
I agree with you, but they're at least
Both of
headed
these-
in the right direction. Their last full game, Mike Evans looked like a god. Tom Brady was throwing bombs. I mean, they at least looked like they're headed in the right trajectory. They're building on top of good game after good game, win after win. The Cowboys just didn't look like that. You know, Dak's been throwing a ton of picks. They lose to the Jags in overtime. They'd have this game now. I just think they're headed in the wrong direction. And after everyone knows Mike McCarthy already struggles with crunch time, timeout, and decision-making processes. And now your team's playing poorly. Your defense isn't playing as elite. And I did see a statistic about this vaunted defense. This defense allows 10 more points per game on grass than it does turf.
The grass, right.
And guess where Tampa Bay and the Eagles and the Niners, who they'd all have to play. They all play on grass. So I'm very concerned about this defense heading into this playoffs.
Tampa Bay's defensive team is getting healthy, so they're getting back at the right time. The Bucs already beat the Cowboys this year. They beat them by 16 before, and now they got them at home in the playoffs against Brady. Can they win that kind of game? Because whoever loses this game is going to be a very disappointing season, and I don't think Tom Brady's going down easily.
Yep, I agree with you, man. I think it's going to be a really close game. This line's already close. I think if the Cowboys had won, the line would have been closer to 6-7, but it's only like 3 or 2 at the moment. So going to be a close game.
Yeah.
But I want to move over to a team that got eliminated from the playoffs, and that's the Patriots. They lose to the Bills here. They didn't play that great, but they made it a game for a little bit. But now headed into the next year, they got a few questions, mainly at quarterback. What do you do if you're running the Patriots, G-Man? What do you do at quarterback for next year?
Well, I think there's too many positives to walk away from Mac Jones.
Okay.
He's been there 2 years, had a great first year. He's played well since Thanksgiving, and he played well against the Bills last week. Mac Jones, 341 yards and 20 first downs, had some big plays. He did make some mistakes, but this guy's in his second year. He's done well. He's been a starter, been consistent for the most part. I would stay with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now the biggest thing with the Patriots is get an offensive coordinator in there.
Well, that was my next question to you. Was the real question is what's going on at OC?
I think Robert Kraft's going to lay the hammer down. I think he doesn't like losing. He doesn't care about Bill Belichick's legacy. This guy wants titles, and so he's going to talk to Bill.
He cares about his legacy.
Exactly. So I'm with you. Let's ride this out with Mac. Let's get him legitimate offensive coordinator here. I mean, he was good when Josh McDaniels was his OC last year, and he's clearly regressed because coaching's been horrible, I'm sure. And
we pointed that out on Father Son Sports for the past year, that this OC, the shared OC, and you were jumping on it. I was too, but you were led the charge. And we've been saying that all along, that this experiment with this offensive shared position did not work. So that's the number one thing they got to fix. Number two is they got to get him some playmakers. Look what A.J. Brown did for the Eagles. A.J. Brown coming in. Yes, they had Devontae Smith. And Patriots have some decent and some good wide receivers. But do they have an A.J. Brown kind of guy?
Yeah, I agree with you. And look what Tua did, or Tyreek did for Tua. Same thing. Like, you bring in a weapon and it changes everything, right? So totally agree with you. That was actually my next point. I think we totally agree on this. Bring in some playmakers, and that's what's concerning. Bill Belichick is not good at drafting. Now, we'll see what they can do in free agency. They have a lot of cap space, but I am concerned that they won't be able to draft the proper people, but just get an OC in there. I think that's the first thing. Then try to bring in some playmakers. I agree with you.
The Patriots 22 season comes to an end in Buffalo. Second year in a row, they died in Buffalo. New England caps off their fourth straight campaign without a playoff victory and missed the playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons. So, hey, man, come on, New England. Let's go, man. We love it when you're up there. And they got that defense. They need to build out the offense.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go on. Let's talk about your Jags. I know you love this team, man. And what do you think about the Jags? You impressed with what they're doing? They got the title. They got the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean, I am very impressed. Trevor Lawrence had a hell of a year, right? This guy was top 10 in almost every statistical category, yards, touchdowns, threw less interceptions than Mahomes and Burrow. This guy played great. And I think that's what you got to like about this. Since week 9, he leads the league in passer rating. I mean, look, the past few games, he's only had 3 touchdowns, passing touchdowns in the past few games, but they were all blowouts. They were close games. Tennessee has a good defense. I'm not overlooking it, but he's not making the crucial mistakes anymore. I love what Doug Peterson has done for this team. He's brought stability, smart coaching. Clearly, he's got a good game plan, and I like their running backs. So he's got a stable running back, build out that O-line. Look what he's done with Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. I'm impressed with these guys, how they started, right? I mean, this team, they started 2-6, and then they finish on a 7-2 run. I'm very impressed with the fortitude of this team and to win that division. This looks like it's headed in the right direction as Trevor Lawrence being one of the next great teams, doing what Joe Burrow did, turning around a franchise that's in the gutter like Cincinnati was. I'm impressed a lot with all facets of this. Get a few more playmakers, a little bit better guys on defense. This team's going to be legitimate the next few years.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see if they can make that next step up to one of the top teams. We'll see. They'll get a chance against the Chargers Saturday. The 4 seed and the 5 seed go at it. Jags favored by 1. It's now 1.5. This is almost like a pick 'em, but it's now going up, and we'll see what happens at the line. But this is pretty much a pick 'em game Saturday night, a rematch of Week 3 when the Jags killed the Chargers.
Yeah,
on the road. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 touchdowns, and the Jags put up 413 yards of total offense. Can they do that again versus the Chargers on Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm very, very intrigued here. I'm surprised the Chargers are favored. I know they won 10 games and Jags won 9, but Jags are at home. They already beat them. They're on a hot streak. The Chargers are always in close games. So
Chargers -2 right now. So I'm looking right now. Yeah.
So I'm impressed with these guys. I'm excited. This is going to be a great matchup of 2 young rising QBs here. So I think these 2 are going to be battling with Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow for years and years to come.
Yeah.
I'm going to transition to another team and another QB, though. I'm going to go to the Seattle Seahawks, sneak into the playoffs, courtesy of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
The big one here is, what do they do about their QB situation? Do you think they should re-sign Geno Smith next year?
Absolutely, and everybody thinks that. His stats are so impressive. How about these stats? Setting Seattle franchise records for completions, pass attempts, completion percentage, 69.8%, passing yards, 42.82. Becoming the first Seattle quarterback to lead the NFL in completion percentage since 1991. This guy did what he had to do. Yes, definitely re-sign him.
Yep, I agree with you, man. Think? I'm leaning towards re-signing him too. You got 2 first-round picks here. You can really reload, and just get that defense right. You got a great young running back. Kenneth Walker probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And you got 2 solid wide receivers in Metcalf and Lockett. You shore up that offensive line and just dive into that defense. They got a solid young secondary. I mean, I like the direction these teams headed. And Geno Smith, like you said, led the league in completion percentage, was 4th in touchdowns. So the guy did well, right? And interceptions, less than Josh Allen, less than Joe Burrow, less than Kirk Cousins, 1 more than Justin Herbert. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had more. I mean, he did fine on his TD interception. He put up a lot of points. I like this guy a lot. He's good for that team. He the grittiness and the comeback story just has Seattle written all over him too. So I'm in the Geno Smith camp. I definitely think they should re-sign him.
Yeah, yeah, they make some big moves. They got a younger team now. They got cap space, and like you said, they
Yeah.
got those draft picks, 2 in the first round and 2 again in the second. So they got these draft picks. They're going to be a young, rebuilding, up and coming team, and they made the playoffs. So you can say, hey, they've rebuilt, and they also made the playoffs. They open up the playoffs Saturday at 4:30, unfortunately, against the 49ers.
Yeah.
But they drew that because they drew that tough of a pick because they played poorly down the stretch.
Mhm.
And that's why they ended up playing the 49ers. If they would have kept on the trajectory they were on, they probably wouldn't have played the 49ers.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough break for them, but hey, you made the playoffs when everyone thought you'd be the number 1 pick. So hell of a year for Pete Carroll and those guys.
Yeah, I agree, man. And San Francisco is going to be a tough one. Supposed to be some rain out there. And you lived in San Fran, my man. It's supposed to be some heavy rain, 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds out in San Fran for this game. Probably going to be low scoring. I know the over-under has already went down.
Yeah.
Hey, let's move on and let's talk about one of the teams that finished down there by Chicago in the basement of the NFL, and that was the Texans. They fired Lovie Smith, T-Money. Was that the right move?
So I'm a little torn on this one because, yes, I do think it was the right move. He's just too old. He didn't show any signs of life this year as a team until this last game. And I think you need to get a young upstart guy for whoever you draft at quarterback here in this draft, whether it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, whatever you do. I think what upsets me the most is that they went out and hired him knowing I feel like they were going to do this. Their team wasn't going to be good. They were going to have a top 3 draft pick. And they had the same exact coach in place, basically. Lovie Smith 2.0. And they fired him after 1 season. And so I think that's where my frustration comes in. Like, why did you bring this guy in for 1 season to tank again?
Well, he was on the staff.
I know.
He was okay.
They fired the last guy. I'm just saying, like, why'd you hire this guy? It didn't sit well to me. And I knew the writing was on the wall when he got signed. And
well,
so
what it says is that they're not serious. And that's why, is it a good move? Yeah, if they're serious and they want to build really build their team up, okay, fine, fire Lovie Smith. But if you're just going to mess around and put in guys that are average coaches and, don't have a lot of momentum, then okay, leave Lovie Smith in there.
Yeah, and especially how David Culley finished the year. I mean, his team was playing for him, man. He had some good games. He wasn't the worst team in the league. Like, they were fired up for him. And Lovie Smith looked like these guys weren't motivated. Brandon Cooks was trying to get out of there all year, still requesting a trade, hoping he gets out this offseason.
Oh.
I mean, I just think, like, why fire David Culley if this was – you knew this was going to be your trajectory. And so I think that's what's frustrating to me is they, like you said, they don't seem serious and it seems like they don't know what they're doing. Yes, in the long term, this is great. You should go get a young upstart guy. Lovie Smith's in his 60s. He's out of touch with the new NFL, sure. But I just didn't like the precedent it set. David Culley 1 year, Lovie Smith 1 year, both black coaches would struggle to get into those positions anyways, and they're out in 1 year as stopgap coaches. So that's why I'm more upset about it than anything. But I understand the move, and I think it's the right move, sure.
I don't think it has anything to do with his age. There's people that are 70, like Pete Carroll, guys like that have been really good with young people. So it just really comes down to your enthusiasm, you're willing to learn, staying on top of things, building a great staff. You can be the conductor of a great team. So it's really the skill set of the person that counts and their enthusiasm and what they can bring to the game. Lovie, I love Lovie, man of faith, great guy. I've heard him speak in person. But he just didn't deliver the results, man. It's over his career. He had 1 great season with the Bears, but other than that, he just didn't deliver. He was a defensive guy, and they were terrible on defense. So couldn't even get that side of the ball right. So, hey, I was looking at the record of the 5 first-year coaches to make the postseason. Did you know 5 first-year coaches made the postseason, which is
crazy?
Which is pretty impressive if you put Lovie Smith was kind of a first-year coach, but five of the first-year guys made it. Peterson to the AFC South title, Mike McDaniel for Miami, got Dable for the Giants, O'Connell for Minnesota, and Todd Bowles at Tampa win the division title. So all of those five first-year guys got it done. So
Yeah.
Lovey was not able to make that happen, and now they got to start over, I guess.
Yep. Should be
Pick
interesting.
the right coach, go get a pick, and get that new coach with the quarterback and get it going.
Yep. Agree with you, man. Agree with you. Let's go on to one of the bigger stories this offseason, I think, is going to be Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. We're going to get to talk about it a lot. Should the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers, G-Man?
Oh, my gosh. This again.
Here we
How
go.
long are we going to talk about this? And this guy just keeps dragging it out, dragging us through the glass. Under the contract he has $60 million next year, guaranteed. So first of all, if you wanted to trade him, would anyone take that? Would he want to take it? I mean, so you got a mess there financially, but assuming a lot of these owners are rich, okay? And I say $60 million doesn't matter. Yes, get rid of the guy. He's just too much drama, too much headache. Really, lately, too many losses at home. The guy's not getting it done. I would trade him.
I am on the same page. I would walk up to Aaron Rodgers in a few weeks and be like, look, we're moving on from you. You got to tell us right now, are you retiring or are we trading you? Like, that's it. We're moving on.
Retire.
We're done with the fiasco of you holding us over the fire until training camp. You're not there during the offseason to build chemistry with this young wide receiver core. Then you complain about not having chemistry with the young wide receiving core. We're going to go get you more draft capital and wide receivers and tight ends this year. Are you going to be there to facilitate a relationship with them? Because if not, you're out, man. Like, they got to take back ownership of this team. And, hey, this isn't unfamiliar territory. Aaron Rodgers, I think to the day, replaced Brett Favre after his third year of sitting behind him. It's come full circle. Jordan Love sat for 3 years. Here we go. He's going to be the starter next year. I think it would be a bad decision if they traded him. Or didn't trade him. I think go get a first and a second from someone like the Jets and who's ready-made, or the Titans, and see what Jordan Love has. Because if you're not ready to win a title, what are you doing? You're the Green Bay Packers. It's titles or bust, not sneaking into the playoffs. Go get experience with Jordan Love, get some draft picks, build around this kid. I think they definitely should trade Rodgers.
Yeah, and saying you trade him and how you do and how you get that done is really where the talent comes in. Or these owners, they put us in this situation. The owners did. So how do we get out of it now? And it's going to be very expensive. So assuming the expense part doesn't matter, here's what you do. I heard this idea. I like this idea. Packers announced Jordan Love's the starter. Okay, and they see what Rodgers wants to do. If he wants to stay, he's our backup. He's not going to like that. The guy will never take that.
He won't do that.
They're going to pay him one way or the other. So let's make him the backup. Tell him he's going to be the backup. His ego will not allow that, and he'll ask to be traded. And so they will force him into the move they really want him to take. I think they would have leverage over him. He will not want to sit on the bench, especially with his career getting down in the last few years. And if he doesn't get traded, he's the backup.
Yeah, I promise you that will not happen. So that's funny,
well,
but
why not?
Why would not happen? Aaron
Why not?
Rodgers will not be a backup at any point.
Hey, we're playing hardball now. I'm the owner.
I agree with they don't have an owner. That's the hard part. That's been the hardest part about this from the start is Green Bay doesn't have an owner. But hey,
I'm the GM.
I think they come out and say that. Hell yeah. But Aaron's going to say, okay, trade me right away. He's not going to come as the backup.
Okay. Then you say fine.
Yeah.
Then you say fine. That's what you want him to do. Because right now he's not going to want us to get traded. He's going to stay there for
I agree.
1 more year.
Well, that's what I said the same thing in the beginning. Hey, we're going with Love. Do you want to be traded or do you want to retire? That's it. There's no being backup. That's it.
Yeah, I think the backup has to go in there. So, you can call a bluff. You can make him the backup. You got to be willing. You got to be willing to take that step.
He won't do that.
I heard a great quote from a Green Bay fan. This is great. He said, "I've never seen such a great team get to the playoffs so many times and blow it with a Hall of Fame quarterback."
Yeah, he's been horrible. He's been horrible in the last three final games of each of the last three seasons in the fourth quarter. He has been atrocious. So anyone thinking this guy's an all-timer, Patrick Mahomes already took over most talented guy to play the position and already has the same amount of Super Bowls. So this guy's done being in that top echelon of quarterback. Just his legacy has taken a hit.
Yeah. Well, you're excited about this topic, and I love that. So, hey, man, wait. I got to switch gears here because I got Randy in my ear. Cousin Randy wants to do his chug and chant, and he's 3 minutes behind because T-Money's all fired up. So, hey, man, T-Money, we're going to listen to Randy, Cousin Randy, with this week's chug and chant.
Hey, welcome into this week's chug and chant. Cousin Randy coming to you after the final game of the season. That means someone has a big pick coming up. Someone's on the clock, and that's who I'm going for. Let me get this chug in, and then we'll chant. All right, Chicago, I'm looking at you. You got a new GM, and you got a new coach now. You got the number one pick because the Texans screwed themselves. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up for Justin Fields. You're already quoting that you might start looking at a new QB. Don't do that. Don't do that. This isn't Caleb Williams. This isn't Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields is great. Don't mess with this guy. Go get him some weapons. Go get him an offensive line, a solid defense. Don't mess this up for Justin Fields. Trade down. Get some picks. You got the most cap space in the league, too. Don't mess this up. This guy's special. Breaking records, running all over the place. You get him a couple solid weapons, he's going to turn into a good thrower. Watch him. Chicago, you're on the clock now. Everyone's looking at you. Don't mess this up. But I'm afraid you're going to. Because you're Chicago, you got bad owners, you're known for your defense, you don't know how to draft, you're trading for Chase Claypool? He's a bust. Why are you giving up fourth rounders for him? I'm worried, and I'm scared for you, Justin. So Chicago, you better get this right, or else burn it all down. G-Man, T-Money, what do you think? Chicago, do they have a chance to mess this up? Should they get a QB? Give me your thoughts.
Oh, Randy, really bringing it there, Randy. Yeah. I agree with him. Go get Justin some weapons, Randy. I agree with you, man. I'm afraid they're going to mess it up too, T-Money.
Yeah. I'm intrigued, man. I heard somewhere today. What do you think about this? Okay, they got the most cap space in the league, so they could do something like this. Lamar for Justin Fields, straight up. Pay Lamar his fully guaranteed deal. The Ravens get to start over with Lamar Jackson light. I mean, that's a spicy little trade, and then you still you still got the draft picks. You can go build out that team. I'd be interested.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I kind of like that. That is kind of, I think, a benefit to both teams right there.
Yeah, but hey, I'm not opposed to them trading Justin Fields as well. Bryce Young is special. The guy, I know he's not an all-timer, but if you don't think Justin Fields can be the guy, you could get a first rounder from him from the Texans or the Jets. There's some very quarterback hungry teams. Seattle will ship you a first rounder. They'll probably ship you both their first rounders for Justin Fields.
What kills me about the Bears is, and I watched that press conference or pieces of it. The Bears had their postseason press conference yesterday, and just watching those guys, there doesn't seem to be any sense of urgency in that team. And I'm thinking about the last 2 years. They're losing games all over the place, and I just can't believe the Bears are not more urgent about fixing this.
Yeah. They're becoming kind of a joke of a franchise when, they used to be just a staple. Nobody has the Bears as a top tier team anymore. And, in the 80s, 90s, they were just known for their incredible defense and solid run game. And, then they had Jay Cutler and Matt Forte, which were solid with Lovie Smith. Right. And they're becoming a joke.
And yes, they have a lot of cap space and they have some draft picks, but are they going to, like Randy said, they're going to mess it up? I don't care what you have coming. I want to see you start getting results, man. This is the Chicago Bears. They have to pull this off and get it back on track. They have the worst record in the NFL.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
They lost 10 straight. 10 straight games they lost.
That is crazy. So, yeah, I'm open to anything, honestly. Like, do what you think is best, but make a move, man. Make a move, because if you don't get multiple draft picks out of this draft, I think you made the wrong decision. If you don't trade down with Houston and get both their first, or trade down with Seattle, get both their first, like, you got to make a move here. You either stick them with Justin Fields and get a shit ton of draft capital for trading out a first, or you trade Justin Fields for multiple firsts and you draft Bryce Young. I don't want to hear anything else. If they draft a defensive lineman first overall, they've wasted the value of that pick.
Well, you're a little more middle of the ground. I like Cousin Randy's point. Cousin Randy said Justin Fields is the guy, and he is the guy. Don't even hesitate, Bears. You stay with him.
He's shown flashes.
You sell that first pick to the Houston team that messed up. Sell that first slot. In fact, they could probably drop down. They could drop down right now. Chicago, Indianapolis is the 4th pick. Chicago could sell that first pick to let Indy and Houston bid on it. Chicago could drop down to the 4th pick and pick up Will Anderson from Alabama, or one of the top defensive players. They could use a defensive player, and there'll be one of them available at number 4.
Yep. Hey, I'll throw out a fun scenario for you here. I saw this one on Twitter. They trade down to 2 and get Houston's 2 first, which is 2nd and 12, I believe. And then they trade that 2nd pick to someone like Indianapolis or Seattle. All right. Indianapolis will give you a first next year. Will probably suck again. So then you'll be at 4, and you'll have 12 and next year, or you'll drop to 5 for Seattle and get their 25th pick this year. You'd have 3 first rounders. You do a trade with Houston first.
I love it.
Then you trade out a 2nd, then get 3 first rounders just for moving. And then you can make some big time decisions. You're still in the top 5, getting a defensive lineman out of that draft class.
And it all starts if you say, I'm set with Justin Fields. I don't need that number 1 pick. Yep. And a lot of people want it. So you got a lot of value there, man, Chicago. Go get it. Yep. Hey, let's wrap this up. Let's shift some gears. We're not doing the fantasy show this week, everybody, so we'll see you next year on that, or coming up in the next few months. But, hey, let's talk about bets, though. We know you like the bets, and T-Money is rocking hot on his bets. T-Money 2-0 last week. The last 2 weeks, father-son sports, 6-2 against the spread. Ooh. We are bringing you the stuff, and T-Money can't get his picks out quick enough. He's so excited to get his big bets out here. We're going to do a lock of the week and a dog lock. You guys know what that is by now. Let's talk about these games. We got, as we said, we have 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, 1 on Monday. T-Money, who do you like for your lock of the week?
All right, my lock of the week here, which, by the way, thank you, Detroit Lions. Made me a shit ton of money this weekend, beating the Packers straight up. Bet that money line all week. Anyways, my lock of the week, Seattle Seahawks plus 9.5 versus the Niners. I think this is going to be a close game. Oh. Yes, I know they played in the beginning of the year and they blew them out. But most recently they played and they won 21-13. Very close game. Brock Purdy played. And like you said earlier in the show, G, it's going to be a lot of rain. They're playing on grass. It's going to be low scoring. So I think this will be somewhat of a close game. 9.5 is a lot. I hope you could tease it up to 10 if you're a little nervous about that hook. And so I like the 9.5/10 if you want to tease it on Seahawks.
Oh, you're going with the underdog as your lock pick.
Yeah.
So you have 2 dogs you like this week.
Yes.
Oh, you're going Seattle,
but I like another dog better.
Yeah, you do. No, interesting pick there. It could be close and low scoring.
I don't think they're going to win.
That's a lot of points.
I don't think they're going to win. So that's why my dog lock, I could bet the money line.
Okay. Sounds good. In Seattle, I'm looking at the line right now. I don't know what you have, but I'm seeing 10 points right now.
Okay, give me the 10. I said 9.5. That's what I had on mine, but tease it to 10. So if you got 10, that's great. So that's my lock pick of the week.
T Money in with the lock pick of the week. Nice one. It's hard to win double-digit covers, and you see them fall all the time. We got 2 big double-digit covers this weekend. And think about this. The 1 seeds both got bye. The 2 seeds that are remaining are both double-digit favorites. So big expected wins there for those 2 seeds. Hey, for my pick, my lock of the week, I'm going to someone that's not in that double-digit favorite category. It's in Paycor Stadium, right by T Money's.
All right.
T Money's little escape there. His little pad, bachelorette pad. Him and his fiance, T Money, ready to go
to the pick. Get the damn pick out.
Sunday night at 8:15. The Ravens are 1-3 against the spread over the last 4 games and are 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 division games. If Lamar plays, I would not be as confident. I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, I don't either.
Bengals still have a better quarterback anyway. But Lamar would make a difference. I feel more confident if he's not there. But can they cover 6.5? I got 6.5 on the spread. It's went up. Wow, they must have announced Lamar is now off, because I was looking earlier. This was 6.5. They must have announced Lamar, because I just see it at 8 right now. They just beat the Ravens last week by 11. The Bengals win home games by an average margin, T Money, of 10.7. 10.7 scoring margin at home. That's 3rd best in the NFL. The Bengals have won 10 in a row. They're 7-1 against the spread at home in the last 8 games. So give me those Bengals. I had 6.5. I'm going to lock it in at 6.5. I see it now went up to 8. But the Ravens will be chippy, and this will get physical. But I'm going Bengals here to cover in the end.
All right. I like it. Let's go Bengals, baby. So for my dog lock pick of the week, I'm going to go with the Jaguars, because I think they can win. Now it's +2, and they're playing the Chargers, but they're at home, and they've already beaten the Chargers this year. I like Trevor Lawrence and the direction they're headed. They've done really well over the last since week 9. Trevor Lawrence #1 in passer rating. The run game looks solid with ETN, and the Chargers just always seem to be in too close of games. They haven't played a lot of great quarterbacks as of late. The Broncos beat them, and it looked like the Chargers were trying. So I'm not liking this. Mike Williams just got hurt in that Broncos game as well. I like the Jags to win this thing outright, and that's why they're my dog lock pick of the week, because I think they're going to win this one, so you can throw it on the money line.
All right. Well, that's great, T Money. And with whatever team wins that game, I'm not going to be surprised. If the Jaguars blow them out, I won't be surprised. And if the Chargers win, I'm not going to be surprised at that either. I'm really interested to see what happens, man. But you are hot. Hey, last week we both picked the dog lock correctly. We both told you to take the points with the Lions, and the Lions might win. And guess what? The Lions beat the Packers, and we were all over that, T Money.
Thank you.
For my dog lock of the week. Hey, man, I'm going out to Minneapolis, Minnesota, US Bank Stadium, Minnesota, hosting the game. They have the offense, T Money, but they don't have the defense. This is going to be a high-scoring game, yes, because they have the offense, but they will not be able to stop Saquon and Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Minnesota's defense is allowing the 2nd most yards per game, 388, and the 4th most points per game in the NFL. Can the Giants win on the road? Yes, T Money. The Giants have played well on the road. They're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 away games. Give me the Giants and Coach Dable for the dog lock pick of the week.
All right. I like it. They only lost on a last-second field goal when they played a few weeks ago. So very good bet there.
Well, that's right. And, that's 3 points. So if you want to win the bet and you're worried about that, go get it at 2.5. All
right. Well, I don't know if I'm catching you off guard here, but
3.5. 3.5. Sorry.
The best segment in sports, everyone wants to know who you got this week for your player prop of the week, G.
Player prop, man. Player prop. Yes. I told you King Henry would go crazy last week, but they didn't win the game. This week, T-Money, I like the Giants here in this game. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. It'll be a close game. I like Saquon over 88 total scrimmage yards. 88 total scrimmage yards. That's all they're counting on for Saquon. I'm saying he's going to beat that. And I like Daniel Jones over 38 on the rushing yards. I saw his player prop today. 38 rushing yards. I think he can beat that. I like both of those guys to rack up some yardage. The other one I like, I'll throw out there, George Kittle. He's the favorite for Purdy. Purdy likes to go to him. He's getting 20% targets when he runs routes. So he is a great target. His only over 41 receiving yards. 41. He should beat that. I'm going Kittle over 41 receiving yards.
All right. I like it, G. I like it.
Hey, well, there we are. And I think we wanted to pick the Super Bowl winner, right?
Yeah,
Before we wrap the show up,
we're gonna make some playoff predictions now that everything's set. So we're gonna each give our prediction on who we think is gonna make the Super Bowl from each conference, and then the overall winner. So who you got, G? What's your Super Bowl prediction looking like?
Well, everybody's counting on the Chiefs to come out of the AFC. And, of course, everyone now has the Bills as they're kind of soft in their heart. And you see the guy behind me, DeMar, and his foundation. By the way, our fantasy league that T and I are part of donated to DeMar's foundation.
Love it.
So we are really, supporting it too. But the Bills are the favorite for many people, and so are the Chiefs. I'm still going with the Bengals, though, T-Money. I got Bengals coming out of that AFC to win that AFC once again, like they did last year. Everybody counting them out. They are ticked off. And like they said, the saying in Cincinnati, you got to go through us. So you got to play us. That's my pick in the AFC. Who do you like in the AFC?
In the AFC, I'm going chalk, man. I just think it's too easy for Patrick Mahomes here. They're going to host both games unless they play the Bills. But either way, they only are going to have to play one hard game. I'm not worried about the Chargers. They beat them twice this year. Trevor Lawrence in his first big playoff game versus Patrick Mahomes. Come on, let's not joke here. And so really, to get to the Super Bowl, they have to beat the Bengals or the Bills. And I know the Bengals beat them last year and this year in the regular season, but that game's at Arrowhead now. And then the Bills, I just don't trust that roller coaster of a quarterback, and they beat them both postseasons the last two times they played. I like Kansas City to get there. I'm going chalk. I know it's lame, but I just think they're really playing well right now, and that defense is slowly getting better and better, and I don't trust anyone else more in the clutch than I do Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Kansas City does have the best path to get there.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if you're right. Let's go over to the NFC. NFC T-Money, that one seed is sitting there, Philadelphia, but they have not played well of late. And I'm going with the team that has played well that's right behind them, the 49ers. I think the 49ers, who I predicted would win the West, I'm now predicting they'll go on and win that NFC.
All right. Hey, I'm in the same boat here. I like the Niners a lot. Everything's clicking. George Kittle looks like the George Kittle of old. Deebo Samuel's back healthy. That was an underlying story. And Brock Purdy may be playing better than any quarterback ever has under Kyle Shanahan statistically. And so even if he plays poorly, Jimmy G is one of the worst quarterbacks in playoff history by passer rating in the fourth quarter. He's the number one worst passer rating in playoff fourth quarter history. So even if he plays bad, this team knows how to win with bad QB play in the playoffs. If he's above average, they're going to roll through this NFC. Give me the Niners here with Christian McCaffrey finally making a deep playoff run. Good for him.
Yeah, and I like him for all the same reasons you just mentioned. And for that reason, I do pick the 49ers to beat the Bengals in the title match with all those weapons. And it'll be great. But I just think too many weapons there for the 49ers. Their defense is a little bit better than the Bengals. Give me the 49ers over the Bengals in that title.
All right. Bengals back to the Super Bowl. That would be fun. I'm torn here because I do think the Niners have the best defense, the best left tackle, the best running back, the best wide receiver who could be a running back, one of the best tight ends, best defensive player, Nick Bosa. But something tells me they just cannot score with Kansas City in the end. And so I'm going Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes to do what he always does, come from behind and win in the last second and beat the Niners here. Kansas City, Mahomes gets his second win over the Niners for his second Super Bowl. And I will take Kansas City to win the Super Bowl this year.
Kansas City, here I come. Hey, all right, good pick, T-Money. Hey, let's wrap it up. That's it for today's show. Enjoy the games this weekend. We hope you had fun and you picked up some good tips from us. Make sure you look for all of our segments and clips wherever you consume your content at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. Pick up some of our merch too, man. Hey, on behalf of T-Money, I'm G-Man. Enjoy the games this weekend.
All right, peace.